Should you have any technical difficulties, please write that in the chat and a team member will connect you to provide you support. We have Spanish language interpretation available for tonight. Please click the globe icon titled Interpretation to access the Spanish language audio during tonight's event. We will also have closed captions available. To access these subtitles, please click the closed captioning button on the bottom of your screen and select Show Subtitles. You can also choose to select Show Full Transcript to see the full event transcript for tonight. Now, I am so excited to be here with you all tonight as we hear from some incredible speakers about the importance of making a plan to vote and make the most of the final 11 days before polls close on this historic election. And let's be honest, making a plan to vote is as easy as it is important. All you have to do is decide how, where, and when you are going to vote, and identify 3 people that you are going to help make a plan to vote as well. It is so easy, and you can all do it right now. Go ahead and share your plan to vote in the chat or in the comments below. Now, as you are doing that, it is my honor to introduce our first featured guest speaker of the night, Rep. Tram Nguyen. Rep. Nguyen is the state representative of the 18th Essex District, and that includes parts of Andover, Boxford, North Andover, and Tewksbury. Rep. Nguyen is a first-generation Vietnamese American immigrant. It was the first person in her family to attend college and law school. Rep. Nguyen was first elected into office in November 2018, and she is the first Vietnamese American woman in elected office in the Commonwealth. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Rep. Nguyen.
Thank you, Jamil, for that kind introduction, and welcome everyone. I'm so excited to see all of you. Thanks for joining us. It is surreal to think that we're just 11 days away from Election Day, and we're used to that being the day to vote, but it's really the final day to vote this year. And this year's election, as said, the most consequential election of our lifetime. Early voting, as you all know, is already underway in Massachusetts. And to those of you who have been volunteering to contact voters across the state, you're the reason why over 1 million early votes have already been cast. And as one of the many Democrats whose name will be on the ballot this year, I'm running for re-election in the 18th Essex District, a traditionally purple district. We campaigned very hard in 2018 to win the seat from Jim Lyons and flip this from a red to blue seat. And this year in 2020, we're campaigning just as hard to keep the seat blue and secure it for the future. The people of my district have told me over and over that environmental, economic, racial, gender, and social justice is at the core of their value system. And it's also my value system. In 2018, I pledged to advocate and legislate for that value system, and I continue to fulfill that promise to this day. And I'm committed to doing that work and returning to the State House to be a voice for everyone in my district, particularly those who, among us who are the most vulnerable. We can't even count the serious challenges ahead of us. And it will take every single one of us here tonight to commit to unity and to advocate and negotiate with those we disagree with. And most importantly, take action to make the changes that we want to see. So I'm running against a Trump-supporting Republican, and my challenger will try to undo all the progress that we've made here in the 18th Essex District and beyond, and we absolutely cannot let that happen. He's not offering any policy plans, and I think many of us are familiar with that. And by his own admission in a recent candidates forum, he's not familiar with some of the critical issues that the people of the 18th Essex District and our Commonwealth are facing, such as reproductive rights, environmental protection, and more. We will not go backwards. From president to state representative, we must ensure that Democrats who are going to protect working families and stand up for the most marginalized by society are elected and re-elected into office. And the number one way to make sure that happens is to make a plan to vote. So I'm actually gonna up Jamil's ask earlier. He asked for 3 people. I'm going to ask you to up that to 5 people. Get 5 people to make a plan to vote, to get them to the polls. Bring your friends, your family members, anyone you can think of, get them to the polls to vote. Now, in speaking of Democrats who are doing the work of standing up for those most marginalized by our society, it is truly my honor to introduce one of my sisters in service, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. I'm just so thrilled to be in this forum with her. Congresswoman Pressley is an activist, a legislator, a survivor, and the first woman of color to be elected to Congress from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Throughout her career as a public servant, she has fought to ensure that those closest to the pain are closest to the power, driving and informing policymaking. So Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Welcome.
Rep. Nguyen, it's wonderful to be with you. It was wonderful to stand with you alongside you 2 years ago. We are still standing alongside you. We believe in your leadership. We are grateful for all that you do to ensure that those so often ignored, left out, and left behind are centered in our advocacy and in our policy. We are so fortunate to have you. And in the next 11 days, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you can continue to do that good work. So it's wonderful. You know, your last name is Nguyen for a reason. And so I like to say GOTV is not only for get out the vote, it is get out the victory. All right. And so that's what we're going to do in these next 11 days. It's wonderful to be an activist virtual community with all of you. You know, this has been something, right? Unprecedented times, but I do want to say the silver lining in it, outside of the collective aid and mutual care that has emerged during these unprecedented challenges, are the new and innovative ways in which we are making civic engagement and access to the ballot and mobilization possible. I hope that some of these practices that we have learned here when it comes to access continue after we have weathered this storm. So it's wonderful to be with all of you this evening as we prepare to head into the second week of early voting in Massachusetts. Actually, tomorrow is National Early Vote Day, just so you know that. And again, it's wonderful to be a Democrat and to be a Massachusetts Democrat. And I'm grateful for all of my siblings in service who are joining us this evening, showing up to do the critical work necessary to restore our democracy. Now, you know, there are many titles that I hold, like all of you. You know, we have different roles that we play in our families and in community. You know, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a policymaker, I'm a survivor, but what has formidably defined me the most is that I am my mother's daughter. May she rest in peace and power. I grew up in an activist household. My mother was a tenants' rights activist, a community organizer. And so I learned early on the power of civic engagement and of movement building. My mother also taught me early on that being a super voter is our superpower. And so when I say that the people closest to the pain should be the closest to the power, driving and informing the policymaking, that is not simply about those who decide to be candidates for office. That is about the people. And so you are all closest to the pain. Vote your condition, whatever it is that you seek to improve during these unprecedented times, whether it's healthcare justice, racial justice, economic justice, climate justice. Those conditions are on the ballot. You are closest to the pain. So be closest to the power and inform the policymaking by electing partners that will actualize those policies that you want to see made real, because they stand to improve your condition, improve our outcomes and your lived experiences every single day. So your vote in this moment is the resistance and the affirmation. It is the resistance of the callousness, the cruelty, and the corruption of this administration. And it is an affirmation of all those things that we hold dear and we seek to actualize and to make real. So growing up in the household that I did and knowing the power of civic engagement and movement building and believing fiercely in that, that's why even in the midst of these unprecedented times, a global pandemic, exacerbated economic inequality and economic hardship, and a national reckoning on racial injustice, I am still optimistic, because I believe in the power of the people. And in fact, my dear sister in service, Stacey Abrams, said she's neither optimistic or pessimistic about our chances. What she is determined. And that is exactly what we need to be in these next 11 days. We know the only way to effectuate change in a deep, meaningful, and sustainable, transformative way is to build an active, engaged movement committed to partnership and to progress. That is the task, the opportunity, and the responsibility before us in this moment. The occupant of this White House knows his failures are on the ballot, and there are many of them, and everything that you care about, that we care about, is also on the ballot. Now look, I didn't excel at math when I was in school, but I did do some number crunching before I got on this call, and it does not give me joy to share these numbers, but I must enumerate them to make clear the stakes. Donald Trump by the numbers, 2 articles of impeachment, 223,000 lives lost, 222 federally right-leaning judges passed by this GOP-led Senate instead of a comprehensive relief package to meet the scale and scope of this crisis, $750 paid in taxes, and 279 days playing golf. Now, those numbers do not give me joy, but the numbers that do give me joy is the power of movements. The Birmingham movement was 37 days. The Freedom Rides were 7 months. The Greensboro sit-ins were 5 months. The Montgomery bus boycott was 381 days. If those selfless architects of the civil rights movement, which we are still in, those foot soldiers and freedom riders can make those sacrifices for that many weeks, for that many days, for that many months, we can do what we need to do in the next 11 days when the failures of this administration are on the ballot, when our democracy and decency are on the ballot, when healthcare justice in the middle of a pandemic is on the ballot. And let me be clear, as evidenced by my siblings in service that are part of virtual community this evening, this is not just about the top of the ticket. This is about electing progressive Democrats all the way from president to US representative, to state senator, to state representative, and every office in between. This is the moment of resistance and affirmation. I thank you all for taking a stakehold in our democracy. I thank you for caring about your neighbor and our communities. I thank you for the intention with which you arrive at this. Dig deep, 11 days, everything is on the line. And after November 3rd, know this. Our work does not end there. It is really only just beginning. The election of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and my siblings in service that are on this call, we are, because I'm on the ballot too, we are the destination, not the door. We are not the destination, we are the door rather. We are the door, not the destination. So we are still gonna need to organize, to mobilize, to legislate. These are unprecedented times. They demand unprecedented organizing, mobilizing, voting, so we can do unprecedented legislating and unprecedented hope, which is what all of you give me. So thank you for being here. And let's go, 11 days, dig deep, be determined. Let's get out the victory.
Thank you so much, Representative Pressley, for those powerful words. I don't know about folks on this call, but I'm feeling truly inspired and ready to really dig deep for these next 11 days and organize with intention here. So now I am very excited to introduce our next guest speaker, Democrat for State Senate, John Cronin. John Cronin is a former infantry officer in the U.S. Army and combat veteran. He has spent his entire career in public service to this country, and now he's running and working to continue his lifelong record of service by running to represent the Worcester-Middlesex District in the Massachusetts State Senate. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, John.
Thank you, Jamil, for the kind introduction. And I realized a few minutes ago that I am in the worst speaking position possible in Massachusetts politics, and that is after Congresswoman Pressley and Representative Nguyen. So thank you both for your incredible, inspiring remarks and both of your leadership. But my name is John Cronin, and I'm running for state senate here in North Central Massachusetts and working to defeat Dean Tran, the Republican incumbent. I spent the last 10 years of my life in the U.S. Army, both as a cadet at West Point and then as an active duty infantry officer, preparing for combat or leading soldiers over 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan. And on election night 4 years ago in 2016, I was in Afghanistan. And I can tell you, when I came home a few months later, it felt like I was returning to a different country. And it was one I barely recognized. And look, we need to do everything we can over the next 11 days to defeat Donald Trump and to elect Joe Biden president. We also need to defeat Trumpism and the brand of politics that 4 years of Donald Trump spread across our country. And in Massachusetts, we are leaders, and we need to do everything we can to defeat Trumpism and Trump Republicans right here in our backyard. And that's why my race is important. I am running against a Trump Republican who has voted against climate change legislation, voted against legislation to add LGBTQ plus inclusion in our school curriculums, voted against common sense gun reforms like the red flag law. And to boot, he has been censured unanimously by the state Senate for public corruption and is unapologetic about his behavior. And I think that is a symptom of the times we live in and how Trumpism has pervaded our politics. So that's what we're fighting for here in North Central Massachusetts. And I think up and down the ballot, we are fighting to return honest, effective leadership and a vision for our communities and our community's future that reflects our progressive values. We were out knocking doors today in Leominster, where in our district, and I can tell you, we are feeling unmistakable momentum on the ground, but we need your help to get over the finish line. So if you're interested in canvassing, we are paying door knockers. If you can hit the phones, we have nightly phone banks. You can connect with our campaign, John Cronin for State Senate on Facebook, johncronin2020.com to sign up to volunteer. But we have a special opportunity in a battleground district, a purple district, a red district here in Massachusetts to this year in 2020, flip a seat blue and hopefully keep it blue for a long time. So if you can, please connect with our campaign. Enough about me. It's my distinct honor to introduce tonight's next speaker, Kentucky State Representative Charles Booker. Representative Booker is a 36-year-old state legislator, was born in Louisville, Kentucky. He successfully ran for the State House in Kentucky in 2018 and became the youngest African-American in the State House there in more than 90 years. After an incredibly successful first run for U.S. Senate in the 2020 Democratic primary this year, Representative Booker recently founded Hood to the Holler, a 501c4 to continue to build political power, work on voter restoration, and break down barriers of race and class in our democracy and more. So, Representative, it's so good to meet you tonight. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to you.
John, thank you, brother. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you all for inviting me to join the party. First of all, John, run strong, run hard. Thank you for your leadership. Rep Nguyen kicked it off. Thank you for your words. And Congresswoman Pressley is so remarkable, and everything she said is so powerful and so poignant and true in this moment. And I just want to echo everything that you're hearing now. And first of all, I'll tell you that all the way from the Commonwealth of Kentucky to your Commonwealth, that I love you and I'm proud to stand by your side. We are family in this fight. We are family in this push for our future. And we are organizing right now. We're pushing right now because we want real change. That's what this is about. We're asking everyone to vote. We're voting. We're doing this. We're taking this stand, not just because it's another action to take, because it is the action we must take so that we can continue to build. We're pushing for system level change, y'all. We're trying to end poverty. We're trying to pull up the roots of inequity. We're trying to pull up the roots of racism and make sure that they're dismantled so that everyone can pursue and surpass their dreams, no matter where you're from, no matter what pronoun you use, no matter who you love, what you practice, how much money you have, whether your skin looks like mine or it doesn't, whether you're walking or in a wheelchair. We're fighting because we believe. And I feel so much hope in this moment, more hope than I've ever experienced in my life, short of being a dad. One of my daughters is actually behind the screen dancing around, and she's part of my why. And as much as my daughters mean to me, the hope that I see in this moment reminds me of what love is all about, what community is all about, and that change is right before us because, folks, we are the change. We are. This is for us. We're voting, we're building our plan because we love ourselves, because we love one another, we love our commonwealths, and we love this country. And I just want us to understand how much power we have. GOTV, Get Out the Victory, so appropriately said, is about us realizing that we're winning. We're winning. By us getting up and fighting back in spite of, we're winning. And this year has been a decade. It's been a decade of a year. And yes, we're in the middle of a pandemic. The bottom is falling out for so many people. Yes, we've been dealing with the pandemic of racism and structural inequity, and people have been getting crushed for generations. The height of pain and agony from the ills in our justice system are being felt. I know you all are saying Breonna Taylor's name with us. I know you feel that too. And in the midst of all of this, we have to use our pain to inform our passion and allow that passion to pursue our purpose. And we got to apply that to a plan. That's what this is about. We're planning to win because we are. And so in this moment, as we are just working as hard as we can to get through these 11 days and bring it home, all y'all in Markeyverse, all of you all across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and all across the country, we're trying to do the work of making sure that my daughters, your loved ones have a future, that we have a home, that people can have health care, that people can pursue opportunities for ownership and wealth creation and not just be suffering from generations of poverty, that we can breathe air that won't choke us out and drink water that won't make us sick, that we can live and have roofs over our heads and not be unhoused and have access to healthy food, and that nobody in this country has to decide between rationing insulin or putting food on the table to feed their daughters. You shouldn't have to lose your livelihood because you can't afford this. That's why we're fighting now. And that's why I'm in this with you, because I know we're built for this moment. We are bending the arc that Dr. King, Congressman Lewis spoke about. We're still bending that thing because it doesn't just happen on its own. We got to do the work. And as we tell our loved ones, our friends, our associates, our neighbors, folks that we agree with, folks we disagree with, as we tell them how important it is to vote now, to be heard now, so that we can build after we vote, we're pulling that arc. We're tugging on the arc, y'all. We're bending it towards us. And I hope that you feel the fire in your belly. I hope you feel the sense of resolve in your spirit, because that's what we need now. Because once we vote and once we win, then the work really starts. I talk to a lot of people. I come from the hood in the west end of Louisville, one of the poorest zip codes in Kentucky. Kentucky's one of the poorest states. I talk to a lot of people that have given up on the democratic process, and they have every reason to, because they've been ignored. They've been abandoned. Their humanity has been dismissed. Justice doesn't apply and account for them. Democracy doesn't ring true for them because nobody ever hears them when they cry. I understand that and I feel that. That's why we have to stand up and lead ourselves. We can't wait for the change to come. We have to lead for it. And so if you're frustrated, if you're pissed off, if you're hurting, use that to fuel you to fight like never before, and know that you have a big coalition of people that are fighting beside you. Count me in that. Count me in. And yeah, I ran for U.S. Senate this year. I'm in the state house, the youngest Black state legislator in Kentucky since the first one. And I work with a lot of people that disagree with me on a lot of different things. And I ran for U.S. Senate in a place that folks said, well, Charles, you're young, you're Black, you come from the hood. They're not going to support you in Kentucky. I knew the truth. And the truth allows me to be speaking to y'all right now. And I'm so humbled by that. The truth is, we have so much in common. And we are fighting so many of the same battles that if we fight together, if we come together, we are unstoppable. So don't be limited by what this means in this election. Don't just look at this vote that you're casting or that you've cast or that you're planning to cast as the end all be all. Look at it as the opportunity to build forward with a whole lot of new family members, include me in that, so that we can, again, transform our future and make it everything that we deserve. It's hard right now, especially considering the leadership at the top that is stoking hate and division. And I'm so sorry. I'm from Kentucky. Mitch McConnell is the senator here, and Rand Paul. And I apologize to y'all for what these fools have done to y'all. That's why I'm fighting. Because I know that if we get rid of those clowns, we're helping you too. And when you lead in Massachusetts and wherever you are, you're helping me because we're connected. So push through, dig deep, find that resolve, hold on to that pain, embrace it, use it to drive you forward so that we can heal, so that we can be stronger, so that we can win. Let's make these 11 days the most important days of our lives. Let's get Donald Trump out of there. Let's get these clowns out of there that don't give a damn whether we live or die. And let's take our future back. And thank you for letting me be a part of this moment tonight. Let's celebrate the victory we're going to win, and let's go make it happen. Thank y'all.
Wow, that was fantastic. Thank you so much, Representative Booker. Of course, you're not from Massachusetts, but we're all one family on this call. So thank you for being here with us tonight. and in this fight with us. Now, as we move forward with our slate of incredible Democrats that we have here tonight, I am excited to introduce the Massachusetts State Senator representing the Bristol and Plymouth State Senate District, Senator Sue Moran. Senator Moran is an accomplished attorney. She is a small business owner, mediator, and former addictions counselor whose steady progression in government has seen her working tirelessly to represent her constituents and legislating effectively at the local, county, and regional levels of government. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Senator Moran.
Thank you, Jamil. This is an incredible list of stars. I mean, just coming up and being a part of this discussion this evening, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley just talking about being determined. We got this, but we've got to keep moving. We've got to just go right till the end. And democracy is at stake. Tell your neighbors, come out and vote. This is, the time is now. And listening to Rep. Booker, I mean, you know, he talks about being connected. We really are all connected in democracy. I'm running for the Plymouth Barnstable Senate seat. I'm a sitting senator right now. We have a lot of focus and just helping people through COVID. When you have a situation nationally where it's just completely denied, which is the riskiest, you know, kind of behavior, just really fighting against science and making it more difficult for all of us, for our school children, for everyone that's trying to get back to work, for our entire economy. So I'm so appreciative to see you all here. I have the greatest job, and that is introducing Senator Ed Markey. I'll give just a minute of a personal story. When I won my election as senator, walking around, and I got a phone call. I didn't recognize the number. Hi, it's Ed Markey. I want to congratulate you. I was floored. He was on the traveling, you know, he lives in Malden. I lived in Medford, right next door. Took a moment and just really paid attention to how important the race is right now in Massachusetts, to have a woman legislator who's a Democrat really come up and take that seat. So that just meant something to me. He's been incredible, supporting every single candidate that's a Democrat, who just really turning the tide here from just building blocks one to the next from the ground up, and he's responsible for bringing us all along and for being that mentor and for being that example. So I want to talk a second about Ed Markey. He is a national leader on climate, clean energy, and the environment. What could be more important? What kind of jobs are going to be getting us out of COVID? Those jobs. He serves as chair of the Senate Climate Task Force and on the Environment and Public Works Committee, the Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee, and the Foreign Relations Committee. These key leadership positions earned over 40 years of legislative work, establish him as a powerful leader, both nationally and internationally, on climate and energy policy. His record of legislative achievements is unparalleled, most recently co-authoring the Green New Deal with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, OC. Senator Markey is a consumer champion and national leader on telecommunications policy, with a prolific legislative record on major issues across the policy spectrum and a deep commitment to improving the lives of the people of Massachusetts and our country. While serving for 37 years in the U.S. House of Representatives, Senator Markey fought for his constituents throughout his congressional district. Before being elected to the Senate in a special election in June 2013, I always like to say that because I had a special election, Senator Markey was born in Malden, Massachusetts, went on to attend BC, Boston College, and BC Law School. He was elected to the Massachusetts State House, where he served 2 terms representing Malden and Melrose. He's married to Dr. Susan Blumenthal and lives just north of Boston in Malden. And I couldn't be more proud to have the job of introducing him this evening, the leader, the guy that's just racing in indomitable energy. And to you, Senator Markey, thank you.
Wow, thank you, Sue, so much. And thank you for those great words. Thank you for being such a great leader. You've hit the ground running as a superstar up in the state legislature, and just so proud to know you, to partner with you on all of the issues that you have been talking about, and just unlimited. That's how I view you. You know, just going to make such a huge difference up in the State House. Thank you, Sue. Honestly, to be on with John Cronin, who is going to win that state Senate seat. As Sue was saying, I was up there campaigning for John Cronin a couple of weeks ago. I can feel the energy for John up there. Any help that you can give John, please do it. This is a flip. We can win this seat, and we've got just the perfect guy to
absolutely
to be able to do it.
Good to see you again, Senator. It was great seeing you up here 2 weeks ago.
Thank you,
absolutely.
John. Thank you, Sue. Yeah, I'm just crisscrossing the state, seeing all of you guys, making sure that we get the vote out. And Tram Nguyen, I just did an event with Tram. I think it was like 3 days ago, Tram.
It was yesterday.
Was it yesterday? Oh my God. Did an event with Tram yesterday. And, you know, she's only been elected for 2 years, but she defeated the guy, the Republican, who the Republicans then named as the chairman of the Republican State Committee. So no good deed goes unpunished. So they're coming for Tram, the entire Republican state party. So we have to protect Tram and all that she represents. You know, she is just the embodiment of the change in our state, in our country, and we have to protect her. And I thank you, Tram, so much for your friendship and your partnership, and we will get you over that finish line.
Right back at you.
Thank you. And Charles Booker, you just heard Charles Booker. Charles is a friend of mine, and I want to tell you something. We're all going to be able to say that we met Charles in the early years, you know, that we met him, you know, when he was just, you know, starting to become a national name. He came very, very close to becoming our candidate against Mitch McConnell down in Washington. And I will say this, he kind of embodies this fundamental revolutionary change which is taking place in Massachusetts and across the whole country. And yeah, it's Commonwealth to Commonwealth, Kentucky to Massachusetts, Lexington, Massachusetts to Lexington, Kentucky. It's a partnership, and the shared values that we have. Personally, Charles and I, we've spoken several times over the course of the last several months, and I want to tell you, this guy is just going to be somebody to be reckoned with nationally as the years go by. So I thank you, my friend Charles. Thank you for being on. Thank you for being inspiring this evening, because we have a lot of work to do. Thank you, my friend. And who are you holding up there, Charles?
That was one of my bosses. That was Preston.
Preston.
Yeah, and Senator, thank you for your leadership. You know, you've blazed the trail. You've put all of us on your shoulders, and you haven't slowed down a bit. And I'm just honored to be by your side on the front line. Thank you.
No, thank you, Charles, so much. And you know, you're an inspiration. Everyone who's running here today, it's a revolutionary year. It's Donald Trump year, and you know, Election Day is now just the last day to vote. And so, Charles, we've already had 1 million people vote in Massachusetts. 1 million have already voted. And so that means up here, every day is Election Day. Every day, people are voting. And that's how everyone on this call has to see it every day. And every day, you have to be thinking about how you can get other people to join up, to sign up, to vote, to get other people to vote. To do it in person, to do it early, to do it by mail, but just do it. We want to break the all-time record for most votes ever cast in Massachusetts. And I think we can do it this year. Donald Trump is an inspiration to all of us because he is the latter-day reincarnation of Richard Nixon. And we know what happens if you allow people like that to stay in office for too long. It ends very badly. And in this instance, it will end badly for the planet. We won't have put in place the safeguards which we need. It'll end badly for the healthcare for everyone in our country. He will make sure there is no affordable healthcare. It will end badly for the education of children in our country. We need $4 billion additional dollars right now to make sure every child in America is wired at home that gets the internet. Right now, we have 16 million children without the internet. Right now. And they're black, they're brown, they're poor, they're immigrant. And they're gonna know that they missed the 3rd grade. They're gonna know that they missed the 5th grade. And they're going to know that it was because of a racist society that did not want to fund that educational opportunity at home. That will be a legacy of Donald Trump. And if we don't get rid of this man, we are going to have a racial turmoil, unprecedented. He is just going to try to continue to pit different races, different groups against each other, from a Muslim ban to a Mexican a wall to attacking African-American women, to making light of the incarceration pandemic which we have in our country with regard to African-American men, Hispanic men. The war on drugs turned into a war on people of color in our country. There's an 18 times higher penalty for crack cocaine than for white coke, than for powdered cocaine. What does that mean? Well, black and brown people, they're the ones that go to prison for crack cocaine, and then the powdered cocaine somehow or other out in the suburbs, well, 18 times less penalty. A lot of it just suspended sentences. We know how it all works. We are a nation, right now, we have 5% of the world's population, but we have 25% of all the prisoners in the world behind bars in the United States. We have 5% of the world's population, but 1 in 3 women in the world who are behind bars in the United States. That's a crazy number. 1/3 of all women who are imprisoned in the world are behind bars in the United States. And you want to know why? Because they're black, because they're brown, because they're poor, because they're immigrants, because they're homeless, because they have substance or mental health issues. That's our country. We imprison people. We don't give them treatment. We don't try to make sure that they can avoid that system. And so all that's on the ballot, and the alternative will just be 4 more years of the demonization of all of these groups by Donald Trump. So we're at a crossroads, and all of you on this call are difference makers. We have 11 days left to go. You have to be all gas and no brakes. All gas, no brakes, 11 days. Only the paranoid survive, and we should be paranoid. Looking at what happened with Hillary Clinton in 2016. Overconfidence breeds complacency, and complacency breeds disaster. We had that in 2016. Our fault, overconfidence. This is another example of where people right now are looking at the polls and saying, we can't lose. Well, yes, we can. And if you look back in history, this is going to be close. Harry Truman, he won by 1 point. John F. Kennedy, he won by 1 point. Richard Nixon, 8 years later, he won by 1 point. Jimmy Carter, he won by 1 point. Al Gore, he won by 1 point. Oh, wait, did the Supreme Court have a vote? Oh, he lost by 1 vote in the Supreme Court, even though he won the popular vote. Hillary Clinton won by 3 points. Oh, wait, she did not win. So let us not be overconfident, because that breeds complacency, and that breeds disaster. And disaster in this instance means absolutely the lack of environmental justice, healthcare justice, educational justice, racial justice in our country for a long, long time to come. So I can't thank each and every one of you enough for everything that you are doing with this final 12 days. But just make sure that you vote, but because you're on this call, you probably are. So we have to network. We have to call people. In the primary that I just had here in Massachusetts, 1.4 million Democrats voted, which is the all-time record in Massachusetts for a primary, for a governor's race or a senatorial race. We blew away the record for most votes. We have to continue to do that in Massachusetts and then help other states, help Kentucky, help South Carolina, help other states to win their races too. We're Massachusetts. We believe democracy was invented in Massachusetts. It's the Tea Party. It's the United States Constitution. The abolitionist movement, it started here. The suffragette movement, it started here. Obamacare, it was first a law in Massachusetts. Same-sex marriage, it was Massachusetts. We were first, and we have to be the revolutionaries right now to make sure that we get rid of Donald Trump. And I will tell you this, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Sue Moran just mentioned it. She and I introduced the Green New Deal a year and a half ago. It was laughed at. They called it socialistic. Now it's the framework of Joe Biden's climate plan. And Donald Trump is mocking it. So it just goes to show what happens when activists get out there and start advocating for big ideas, big things, big changes that our country needs. Somehow or other, you can be right, and liberals are usually right, but too soon. You got to wait for people to catch up a little bit, but we can see it's happening. We can see it. Justice is on the ballot, and we're going to put justice into the laws of our country beginning next year with all of your help. So whatever you can do for these final few days, and Jamil, I think, is going to get on and explain what more you can do, but this is the time, this is the place. You are the people who have to do this. Justice is on the ballot. Science is on the ballot. The values, the better angels of our nature, it's on the ballot. So thank you all so much. And let's go and get them. Thank you. And back over to you, I think, Jamil.
Yes, thank you so much, Senator Markey. Truly inspirational as always. It has been an incredible night tonight, so thank you all for joining us this evening. Before we close out for the night, I want to talk to you about why we're all here tonight. Right now, we are 11 days away from the most important election of our lives. I remember where I was 4 years ago. I was a freshman in college at the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth. Go Corsairs. And I remember spending hours fixated on the news, struggling to fathom how a candidate for president of the United States had built his campaign around the idea that people who looked like me and worshiped like me didn't belong in this country. That contrasted everything I had ever known. For the first time in my life, I was truly afraid. After a while, I decided that my options were to watch CNN and feel anxious, or to get involved and to fight. In the words of Senator Markey, my options were to agonize or to organize, and like Senator Markey, I organized. I got involved with politics at my school and eventually interned for an organization that supported American Muslims like myself getting involved with electoral politics. After I graduated college, I attended my first ever Massachusetts Democratic Convention. I heard Senator Markey speak about the future we could attain if we organized and if we fought for what we believed in. It was then I knew that we had to work tirelessly to ensure Senator Markey was the Democratic nominee for the Senate, and that's exactly what we did, all of us, here on this call. The Markeyverse, this movement here. With our strength, we made history and did something that has never been done before. But now, we need that same all-hands-on-deck approach to ensure that folks on this call win. Folks like Rep. Nguyen and Senator Susan Moran, folks like John Cronin, Democrats up and down the ballot all across Massachusetts. That's why we need the Markeyverse in all gas, no brakes mode. And that's why I'm asking all of you on this call here, please, please, please sign up for 3 phone banking shifts in these next 11 days. If you've never phone banked before, that's not a problem. We have our training as always. And we need to do everything we can to make sure the Democrats win. We have to really lean in, give it our best, and wake up on November 4th and know that we've done everything that we can. So it looks like the link is down there in the chat. Please sign up for those 3 shifts. I know you can do it. We're here to support you during those phone banks with our trainings and our support team. So please sign up, RSVP. Thank you all for joining us here tonight on this lovely Plan to Vote rally, and looking forward to seeing you all on in these phone banks these last 11 days. So have a great night, everyone, and thank you again for joining us.
Ed Markey's desk was thrown out in the hall by the State House bosses because Markey fought to make judges work full-time. Markey's bill is now the law. Ed Markey's desk was thrown out in the hall. Ed Markey's desk.
I'm Ed Markey. Fairer taxes, more jobs, better health care. Better health care. More jobs. Fairer taxes. I'm Ed Markey. Tired of watching people suffer while politicians make their backroom deals. Make their backroom deals. The bosses may tell me where to sit. No one tells me where to stand. No one tells me where to stand. No one tells me where to stand. I'm Ed Markey. No one tells me where to stand.
Markey's bill is now the law.
I'm tired of watching people suffer.
Markey's bill is now the law.
I'm running for Congress because I want to fight for the principles that I believe in. Fairer taxes, more jobs, better health care.
Markey's bill is now the law. Ed Markey's desk was thrown out in the hall by the State House bosses